Evening YouTube. This is 13 Dragon Blade coming at you with a Dragunity deck profile. I haven't done a deck profile of them, and I've always loved Dragunities, so now I'm going to let you know basically the good and bad about having this deck. To be honest with you, I couldn't really fit any XYZs in there, and considering they're in my other decks, space was tight. So, for every Dragunity user, you must know this. You have to run 3 Duxes, because that's basically the engine for 6 to 8 stars. When he's normal summon, he equips a level 3 or lower Dragon-type Dragunity monster from your graveyard, and it equips it as an equip card. Plus, he gains 200 for every Dragunity on the field. So while he's on the field, he becomes 17. If he gets equipped, he becomes a 19 beat stick. And then you use him and Phalanx, which I'll explain later, to go into your 6 stars, and then go into your 8 stars, because you can double synchro with this deck, which is really cool. 2 Legionnaires. You can run 2, you can run 3. I would run 2 because I'm running a semi-Blackwing engine to this, so it's just good at 2. I think it's great at 2. It helps you go into 5 stars when he's normal summon. He does the same thing as Dux, except there's a combo that they go with Legionnaire and Achilles, and I'll let you know those combos later, but for right now, he's just like Dux, basically. And then the main Dragon Tuner, you have to have 3 of him. He's relatively cheap now, is Dragunity Phalanx. When he is equipped, he special summons himself, so that basically is used for synchro material. He's the best tuner out of the entire thing. And then the second best tuner would be him. While he's equipped and he's sent to the graveyard, you get to pop 1 extra card. So, Legionnaire sends a face-up equipped Dragunity monster to the graveyard to pop a face-up monster. And his effect will kick in when he hits the graveyard and he pops another card. So basically you're hitting 2 birds with 1 stone. Kind of like a mini Icarus attack. Is that I couldn't find space for it at the moment, that's what it's going to have to do. It comes to the Blackwing portion of it. Zephyros, because every Dragunity player does run Zephyros. It's basically the bulb for winged beasts, and in this case it's not minusing at all. You dump it with the field spell, you dump it with Gator, you have so many ways to dump this, it's not even funny. So, you got to make sure that that's in the graveyard so it can help you set up your big plays for later. The other Blackwings you're running here are the 2 Shuras, because they special summon. They're 18 beat sticks. It gives you somewhat of a big dude to run over some other people, because Thunder King's a problem and a lot of other cards are a problem for this deck. To be honest with you, I hate facing Thunder King with this deck. It sucks. And you need to have at least an 18 beat stick, because the Dragunity monsters are relatively weak. So you have to have some sort of backup for it. So use Shura to get into your tuners, which we do have some Wing Beast tuners over here. We have the Gale, and we have the North the Wind. People are wondering why one run these. I mean, Gale's Gale. I freaking love Gale. I don't care what anybody says. It's a good card. And North, because he's just another one that can be specialed through Shura. You don't want Shura to not have any special summon targets, so here's 2. So it helps thin out the deck a little bit, and it just helps with the little other engine I have in here, which is a mini engine. Double Debris Dragon, because Debris Dragon's at 2 again, and I'm really happy about that. He also goes with Shield Wing in this deck. You're probably wondering why. Well, Shield Wing's quite good. It's like a mini Spirit Reaper. You have to attack 3 times to kill him, and he can yank him out of the graveyard, and you can make a Dragunity synchro with these 2 paired. It just says a Dragon Tuner, which is Debris Dragon, and a Winged Beast, which is Shield Wing. So, relatively easy. And Debris Dragon's good to set, because he's got 2,000 defense. It's relatively hard to run over, unless, of course, they're running annoying STGs. And then a very small plant engine. I wish I had the Lone Fire Blossom, because I'm thinking about taking this mini engine out. I just have a Spore and a Dandelion. I really, really wish I had another one, but this is just the little engine I have for using plants. So every time if I dump this onto the graveyard, I just use Spore's effect later. Or I can dump Spore or vice versa, that kind of stuff. Spells, we have a lot of them. Considering that this is a very hefty deck and the meta calls for tons of stuff, we have to be hefty. First we have 2 recovery cards. We have Quillpin of Goldos, and we have the Pot of Avarice, because Pot of Avarice is needed for this deck. You have to use it. All of your stuff gets to the grave incredibly fast. Your Vajrayanas, your level 8s, there's just too much for me to describe. And then the Quillpin of Goldos is to get 2 wind monsters back into your deck, and you can pulse a face-up card, which is nice, so it just gives a little bit of leverage to you, as well as giving you 2 monsters back, which would be Vajrayana and Ducks. Those would be the 2 most important cards you put back. And we have 2 cards of Consonance, because there are several Dragon Tuners in here. If I remember correctly, there should be 6 in total. The 2 Debris Dragons, the Achilles, and the 3 Phalanxes. So just give you some draw power, because you're going to need it. 1 Black Whirlwind, because it's at 1, and because it just helps add Blackwing monsters to your hand. So let's say if you have this in Shura, you get the Gale immediately, and then you special North instead, and then just do a whole bunch of shenanigans, or whatever. It's just stupid. Anyway. Then you have, very important, you need 3 terraformings for this deck. Any deck that runs a field spell, you need at least 2 to 3 terraformings. It's just, you have to run it. You have to use it. It's not a bad card. And for this deck, even if it's dead, you could just dump it with this. You discard a card to either Foolish Burial a dragon, or to search out a level 4 or lower Dragunity monster. Broken field spell. Still quite broken. Dragon Ravine. And then we have just staples, you know, the Reborn, the Hole, the Heavy, MSTs, and the Book. Yeah, that glare's terrible. Or actually, no, it's not Book. I took Book out of here. Foolish Burial, because in this deck you're going to need to dump either the Zephyros, or the Phalanx, or the Achilles. It really presents the situation, even Spore, or Dandelion, just to get it in the grave ASAP. And then the trap lineup, because we don't really run traps, we run the Road to Cree. We don't run traps, they can't run them either, right? So, besides that, now we get into the fun part, the extra deck, which actually doesn't have XYZs, everybody. This is mostly just a synchro deck anyway. Alloy Justice Catastor and TG Hyperlibrarian are our 5 choices. TG Hyperlibrarian is great because you synchro twice per turn, so it's essentially a pot of greed for you. And Catastor is just Catastor. He likes blowing shit up, so anything that's not dark, he just says no. Then we have the Dragunity synchros. We have 1 Gay Bolg and 1 Gay Durg. Since you're running a lot of Winged Beasts, he's actually quite good. He becomes a 38 beat stick thanks to the Shuras that we have in grave, because it says any Winged Beast. So you banish any Winged Beast and he gains the attack. So he starts out as 2k, could become a 38 beater, which is relatively big. It'd be impossible for them to do anything unless they had an over 4k beater on the field, which at that point would be rather impossible, but hey, guy can dream, can he? And Gay Durg, because Gay Durg is basically your Dragon Ravine, and it also helps you search out dragons and winged beasts from your deck to your hand, which is really, really stupid. I actually found that to be hilarious, because I think to myself, and I'm like, you can search out anything you want, dump the Zephyros if you want to, or pitch whatever dragon or something that you have in your hand that's useless. 3 Vajrayanas. I finally got myself a set of 3 because Vajrayana is amazing. I love that card. It goes in from 6 to 8. You equip the Phalanx to it, and Phalanx specials itself again because its effect resets, and you can just go into a ton of 8 stars. A lot of people prefer running 2 Stardusts and such, but I only run 1 Stardust in this deck. You'd be surprised. Another level 6 choice, and our last one actually, is Iron Chain Dragon, because Brio is gone. So This is our other only option, and believe me, I loved using Brio in this deck. Back when it wasn't banned, I loved it. Because we're running Blackwings, why not run Armor Master? He is nice to sit on, he's nice to get over shit, he's a nice beat stick, at least. Then we have other level summons. We have a Black Rose Dragon, and an Ancient Fairy Dragon. Ancient Fairy because it's got a lot of defense, you can stack on it, and if you know you're facing a field spell deck, you can just bring this out, pop it, gain 1,000, and search out your Ravine. Isn't that nice? Besides giving you an additional special summon. And Black Rose because it makes the field. That's all I have to really say about Black Rose. Then level 8, which is most important, you have to run 1 if not 2 Stardusts, because this deck cranks out Stardust like crazy, and that's usually the first turn play for a Dragunity player. They sit on a Stardust, set a huge back row, or whatever the case may be, just to prepare yourself for whatever's going to happen. So Stardust is our first level 8. Thought Ruler because it's also a good level 8. It helps you gain those life points back. Then we have Colossal Fighter because Colossal Fighter is pretty boss and he makes Dark Wolves cry. And we have a Scrap Dragon because Scrap Dragon is really good. He was remade for a reason, people. He's just that good. Anyway, that was my Dragunity deck profile, everybody. Stardust is the card of the night. This is Tachi13, aka 13 Dragonblade, signing off.